Okay, so I'm doing this. A reminder that this time it is a spicy chicken patty. And we got hot sauce, diced jalapenos, like two two-thirds slices of American cheese or pepper jack cheese because I tried to get cheese off and like the last little bit stuck to the rest of the stack. That happened twice. We also got some flaming hot ruffles of some variety. Oh, and I feel like this is a full disclosure moment. We said it would be Chipotle mayo. I couldn't find specifically Chipotle mayo. Like I could find Chipotle sauce, spicy mayo. So I had a coupon for this brand of stuff. So I just bought this variety. I mean, I actually think it'll taste pretty good, but combined with everything else, I'm not looking forward to it. Oh, and I'm also drinking a flaming hot Mountain Dew, which I actually like. I actually really like the Mountain Dew. But yeah. And boy, howdy, I asked for something to talk about, and the universe provided. Let's just take the first bite before we go into that mess, shall we? I was actually about to say it seems less hot than the last round, but it's picking up. Yeah, how about that whole thing with Vince McMahon, huh? Um, yeah. I don't know much to say about what's going on with Vince that other people who know wrestling better and whose opinion you'd actually want to hear have said already. So I think mostly I'm just going to end up talking about that. I actually am really looking forward to Triple H being in charge, creatively speaking. Those chips are actually really good, but yeah, they got heat to them. Well, this is going to take less time to eat than the burger. It's actually a lot smaller. Sorry, I forgot to cover my mouth. I hope that wasn't too gross. But even before I got into wrestling, I would just hear about how good NXT is. And I don't remember why I started watching the takeovers. It's probably more like, well, I have the network. But I always really dug watching the takeovers, even not knowing the storylines that led up to them. Let me tell you the main reason I am looking forward to Triple H being in charge of creative. Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. Like I said, I only saw parts of that whenever that was one of the focuses of the takeover. But not only were those matches fantastic, but just the storytelling that happened there, and those were really good hype packages. Like, this is what I'm going to stress probably in one of the big parts of this thing is the long-term booking involved. Like, there was at one point Johnny had to fight Aleister Black to get another shot at Ciampa, which was also a really amazing match. Yeah, so that more than anything is what's giving me hope for that the quality of the product is going to go up. Yeah. Well, normally I like the Flaming Hot Mountain Dew. Now it's just throwing heat on more heat. Again, if you're one of those people who's just as obsessed with spicy stuff, I do recommend this. This is a good. The sandwich isn't as good as the burger, or the chicken isn't as good as the burger, but it's Tyson brand chicken. What are you gonna do? But the chips are good. I mean, the sauces are good. It tastes good. It's just pure heat at this point, though. But that's always been one of the biggest complaints about WWE, especially recently, is they just can't seem to do long-term storytelling anymore. I mean, even when Roman Reigns was first turned heel and Jimmy Uso came back, just out of fucking nowhere, he's suddenly on Roman's side. That just came out of nowhere. Like, it was like 2 sentences of a dialogue. Like, really, we couldn't. Okay, even if you didn't want to make that a main event of a pay per view, we couldn't get a match where Roman beats him into submission. But yeah, Tommaso and Johnny, there was obviously a plan there, which Vince screwed up by calling Johnny and Tommaso to the main roster for a little while. But yeah, that just really put a huge detour. I don't even know if that feud ever fully recovered. And just going back with the examples of the takeovers, not only are they just great matches, I realized this with the most recent one I watched. I only watch takeovers when it comes to NXT, so forgive me for not knowing the names. But the one match where it was 2 factions, like a group of 3 guys and a group of 3 guys, and whichever one lost would have to work for the other. I mean, that in itself is pretty cool. You know, I've never seen that before. But there was a moment toward the end of the match. This is how the match was won, and I really wish I could remember the specific details, so forgive me if I get it wrong. And honestly, I don't know who the heel or who the face was. But, honestly, I think they both might have been heels, honestly, because there was chicanery going on both sides. I don't even know if chicanery is the right word. Oh, more heat. My stomach isn't hurting so far. Well, now that I've said that out loud, I'm sure I'm going to regret it. But, so Group A gets brass knuckles or something, knocks out a member of Group B, but then the guy with the brass knuckles gets knocked out. So the guy and the other members of Group B who take the guy who got punched by the brass knuckles, who's clearly out of it, and they just throw him on top of the guy who got knocked out. And that's what the ref sees, and he pins. So technically, they're both out, but because one's on top of the other, and it's like, see, I have no idea what Triple H had to do with that, if anything. But I have never seen anything like that on the main roster, and I doubt I ever will. Or I would have under Vince. And just... And hell, just... like, watching interviews and stuff, back in the NXT, Gold and Black days, everyone talked about just, like, the wrestlers and other people. They just talked about there's something special about NXT. And again, I don't know how much of that was Triple H, but the fact that, that was his baby and he's in charge. Still managed to go for like 10 minutes. That surprises me. And Triple H himself is actually like a champion of women's wrestling. Like, I know we all like to make fun of Stephanie McMahon. She invented women's wrestling, but No. Triple H himself is clearly a fan of it. So I not only do I hope the women's tag team titles are back, I fully expect them to come back. I don't think we'll ever see Sasha and Naomi again in a WWE ring. That ship has sailed, but we're probably going to get those tag titles back. These chips are actually really good, even though if my mouth is entirely heat, these still taste really good. Yeah. I mean, the sandwich is almost gone, but I still got a bit of chips, and I barely touched the Mountain Dew. I mean, I don't know how much I should keep recording. I don't know how much space my phone has. But yeah, those are my 2 cents regarding Triple H mostly. I mean, just things have to get better without Vince's meddling. I mean, everyone's saying he'll still have some control, he'll still have his fingers in the pot. Fine. But he's not completely running the show. He's not going to be there ripping scripts up at 5 minutes before they start airing. You know, so, I mean, I would personally love it if, like, Vince tells Stephanie or Triple H to go, now you do this and this, and then they just go, sure, Dad, we'll totally do that. It's fine. And then they just don't. I mean, I just watched the Cultaholic video where they talked about apparently Vince has had memory issues for the last few years, and I'm like, that alone explains so freaking much. Really does. Seriously, these chips are really good. I typically don't eat chips a lot, mostly because I know they're really bad for me, but I can't stop eating these. I guess the slogan's right. I don't even know if there's the right slogan for this brand, but... And now my stomach's starting to get a little upset with me. Ugh. Honestly, that wasn't bad. Wasn't as messy as the burger. I remember that just being a mess. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, this is my 2 cents on Triple H overall. Because, you know, I know he had a bad rep in the 90s, and people still like to talk about how he has a huge ego today, and I am not disputing that. Don't get me wrong. I just know at the end of the day, he really loves wrestling. Like, he doesn't love the business of it like Vince may or may not have. He loves wrestling. I'm sure it figuratively broke his heart when he had to retire. And he has a passion for this stuff. Honestly, that's probably why NXT felt like something special, is it was a labor of love. So with him in charge of creative, it has to get better. It really does. Excuse me, I don't know why my voice did that. And just hit 14 minutes. Finish the rest of these chips, I guess. Either way, I'm glad Vince is gone. I mean, objectively, I thank him for what he did in providing what, you know, we wouldn't be wrestling fans without him. Not disputing that even in the slightest. But he was doing so much long-term damage to his product. So things could only go up from here. And I might be cursing it, I don't know. I'm gonna finish this, I promise. I like the Mountain Dew, so SummerSlam in a few hours. Let's see how things go.